better call somebody!
You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE.
Give me a hell yeah!
Now, let's meet the host. Kyle Gagliardi.
The face that runs the place.
Jim Tucker. And Erica Marini.
I'm the boss. I'm the blueprint. I'm the standard.
Well, I think we've had enough talk. It's time for the main event.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and one of my co-hosts is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucker.
What's going on, Kyle? Hope you've had a good week. Excited to get to chat with you and Erica Marini at Erica_0328. Sup, dog?
Sup, dog? Sup, both my dogs.
I feel like we haven't talked in a while, but we really just talked last week. Isn't that weird?
Thinking that, yes, I was thinking that. I was like, I know it's been a week, but I feel like it's been a week. Like, I feel like we haven't done this.
Yeah, no, we're back at it once again. We rarely miss a beat. Episode 103 right here. We got a comment coming in early. Sup, dog, from the former MVM Ryan Vogus, who I am about to spend the entire weekend with in Indianapolis. He'll be playing wiffle ball. I'll be there coaching. Tuck knows about that life. Tuck, what are you up to this weekend?
There's no TV behind me. That TV is currently being occupied by my dad in the living room. He's going double barrel. Mom and dad flew in yesterday and picked them up. This weekend, I've got a 50-mile race in Lake Tahoe.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm terrified. So
did you say 50-5-0?
Yeah, 5-0. Yeah. So
all at once?
Well, yeah, that's the goal. We're just gonna. Yeah, so it's a big challenge for me. There's people that are running a 100-mile race on the same course with even more, stuff. So we'll see. It was fun when I signed up for the lottery to see if I'd get in, and then I got into the race and I was excited. And then it's in 2 days and I have no idea what I'm doing. So what could go wrong? But Mom and Dad will see me 30 miles into the race, so they'll see me off. I get to see him at mile 30, and then we'll see him at the finish line. And then they're here for the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game, which has been an annual tradition with my dad and I for 8. And that's the kind of the reason we made it a few days longer than we thought we would, just so they can be out here. So we're excited for that. Life is good.
That 30-mile mark is the perfect spot for you to just take you over that hump, because you might be feeling fatigued, but you see the parents there, you get that motivation.
Yeah.
Finish off those extra 20. You got it.
Less than half to go. Yeah. And you'll crush it anyway.
Yeah, right after I leave, it is the steepest climb over 2 miles. So I have to run 2,200 feet in 2 miles. So it's like straight up. So I'm gonna need that energy. So it's only gonna get up to 96. So
that's fine.
That's not.
Bring a light jacket.
Pale redhead here. Don't do well in the heat.
You'll be fine, Tuck. You've been doing very well on your past marathons. I got all the faith in you. Erica, you running any marathons this weekend?
I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to a Christmas in July party at a brewery. So.
Well, yeah.
You guys gonna dress up?
I was thinking. I mean, definitely. I will be. I enjoy being festive, so we'll see what I pull out.
Well, is that on Saturday?
It's on Saturday.
Gotta have one for me.
Always.
Send me a text. I'll get it on the course.
If I wear Hawaiian Christmas, you get $3 off draft beers. But
absolutely, yes.
I don't own that.
Yes.
So
you're not fitting that vibe.
I'm not I feel like that's such a guy thing to have a button down shirt with Santa with his belly out on the beach.
Hell yeah!
Get the shells and the necklace shells going on there.
Yeah. So I'm taking a Christmas outfit that I would wear and making it summery.
Okay.
Fair enough. So we all got shit going on this weekend. No wrestling that I know of going on, at least none that we are going to be checking out. That'll be happening the next weekend and the weekend after that, of course, with SummerSlam. But before we get into all the things we're going to talk about here on episode 103, we got to remind the listeners to check out that merchandise site. Go to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. Tucky did a fantastic job designing a Bryan Danielson appreciation t-shirt. If you haven't seen that,
it's funny, people.
It is.
Buy the shirt. It's not difficult.
Mine's going to be coming in any day now. So
did you edit it to make the title like spelled right though?
Yes, I made sure it's spelled right. That'll happen. We all make mistakes. And then I also decided to put our podcast Twitter handle on the back, just so people could check us out. They're looking from behind. They're like, what is that shirt? That's at Pod on the Mark, and you can follow us on all the social media accounts there. But guys, the first topic I really wanted to get into, and this has gotten very interesting over the past hour on Twitter. We thought Raw was going to become TV 14 this upcoming Monday, July 18th. But Andrew Zarian, who initially broke the news earlier today, is now reporting about a half hour ago that they won't be going to TV 14 and going away from the PG era quite yet, but are considering it for a later date. So obviously this is something that people have wanted, have speculated for the past couple of years, maybe saying that the WWE PG era has been stale. Now that they've kind of revoked that statement from saying it's going to be happening on Monday, I'm kind of skeptical on if this is actually going to happen. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think it will, right? I think it will happen eventually. At minimum, if they have a storyline that kind of like would benefit from it, they have the card to play. So that's where I'm at with that. I also don't, even if it happened on Monday, I don't anticipate sweeping changes in bra and panties matches, so I think it's going to be pretty similar, and it might even be like a catch-all in case someone slips up, right, and makes a mistake and says something they shouldn't, or they forgot to bleep something. But I don't know.
Yeah, and to explain, just for the people that maybe weren't on Twitter a lot today, where did you? What exactly was said or alluded to?
I'll pull up the tweet. Like I said, it was from Andrew Zarian, and he initially this morning broke a report there on Twitter. Let me just find exactly what he said so I don't misquote. He said, starting July 18th, WWE Raw will be a TV 14 rating moving forward on the USA Network. The PG era is over. He went on to delete that tweet, and now he is saying that they are going to be talking about it. It's not finalized, and it's kind of just speculation at this point. So that's why I'm not 100% sold on if this is actually going to happen.
And what pressure, not pressure, but when we're all tuning into Raw and catching it from the beginning, and you see in the corner the first time it's going to say PG-14 or whatever, TV-14, we're all going to be waiting for some raunchy stuff. It's probably not going to happen, but
yeah, we can hope. I think it would definitely make the product more interesting. Vogus said, let me guess, Natalya will call her opponents a bitch even more now for a cheap pop. Yeah, I'm sure Natalya would lean into that word. Ronda would too, because Ronda's promo last week was absolutely horrendous.
I heard Natalya call Liv Morgan a bitch in Reno on Sunday at the house show. So
there's other words.
Speaking of that, did you see that video of her no selling at I forget what house show?
That was the house show, I believe, before Reno.
Yeah, it was in Sacramento. Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird, and then everyone kept calling her out.
It was the same finish in Reno, and she did not know sell in Reno.
Interesting.
But it was weird.
And then she tried to say I was apologizing. It's you pop right up after the pin
and point,
you point in her face like a total bitch, and then you roll out of sure, Natty.
That's typically how those house shows go. They repeat the same results. It's kind of like getting those reps in before TV, that you'll see the same result from night to night. But Steve asked this question. This is a good one. Do you believe TV 14 would fix any staleness right now in the WWE? Because he personally thinks creative ideas is the issue, not the amount of swear words, which I kind of agree to his point, don't you?
I do. Also, hi, Mr. Rogus. I do. I think it's creative, but I wonder if the creative can lean into more, if they'll be able to lean into the PG-14. I keep saying PG-14, TV-14, and find something more, what's the word? Risque.
Edgy?
Yeah,
Well,
edgy.
you know, they see
Wow.
they have shades of it, like with the RK Bro 420 shirt. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think that. I thought that was a joke.
Same.
For a while, I'm like,
It's a
that
big
can't be
step for
real.
them.
So, you know, I think it might go that way, not just be like a dick and balls fest the whole time.
Yeah, or they might be able to say shit the way that AEW could say shit, and then for a little bit said nothing but shit. Like
that's how Brock opened up his promo, I think, on Raw. Like one of the first things he said was shit, and they had to bleep it out. And every time you watch NXT and they chant holy shit, it just goes mute for like 15 seconds. And that's kind of obnoxious to watch TV when that's going on. But Derek Bogus checking in once again. Just got done watching WWE Legends on The Undertaker, which I personally have not seen yet. But hello to you, Derek Bogus. You saw it, Tuck?
A&E is busting their ass with some WWE content. So they've got Legends where they're, you know, each episode is a different legend. And then they have A&E Rivals, where each episode is a specific rivalry. Like the first one was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. My favorite one that I'm really excited to bring back is A&E Most Wanted Treasures.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's the one where Mick Foley was actually in the region, right, Tuck? He was in Valpo, was it?
Yeah.
And I think they did something with the guy that used to be with, what's his face?
Yeah.
What am I forgetting about the faction? Hit Row. The guy that used to be in Hit Row was the host of that show.
Top Dollar.
Top Dollar. Which, dude, does anybody know what Top Dollar's up to?
Probably not doing season 2.
Good
but
call.
yeah, so A&E got a big deal and agreed to a lot of content a couple months ago. So I'm excited. It's just fun. It's that filler stuff that you can always learn more about these guys. So the Undertaker one was pretty good.
Hey, Robbie, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you'll be able to check us out later when we release it in audio form. And Vogus said, bring back Bray. Let him go all in on the spooky now. Speaking of Bray, a lot of people are starting to speculate that it might not just be Edge in those promo videos that we're getting. Is there any chance that we could potentially see Edge bringing back a new version of the Brood?
Why do people say that? Did they?
Well,
I did not watch Raw Monday. Did they? Why?
They had a silhouette of somebody. Yeah, and then he was writing in blood like the Brood, and there was more hints at other past opponents that Edge or whoever this person in the video may have had, and now there people are thinking that maybe it's not just Edge by himself, that he's bringing in other people as well.
Interesting.
Just a
but
thought.
Not necessarily Bray, right?
Correct. That's just all speculation. But Steve said, sounds much content than I'm watching. I've been stuck watching WCW Super Bowl 2000. Awful show. Yeah. We don't watch old wrestling around here. A lot of people do that, but you know, we keep up with the current times, and something that's also. Well, go ahead.
I do like to watch. Like I went back and watched the 60-minute Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, because that was talked about on the show, and you know how iconic it was. So I do like to go back and watch those, but I have had kind of zero desire to go back and watch a whole pay-per-view from 20 years ago.
Steve, you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah. I've been stuck watching Super Brawl. Awful show. But would recommend Take Abbott and Big Al for all the wrong reasons, mainly for the finish. So it's a laughing emoji. So at least he's finding some pleasantry in the disgust he's watching.
Steve's on top of everything. He's pumping out current content on his YouTube channel, and apparently he's watching WCW Super Bowl from 2000. Man, this guy's the real deal. But Tuck, you broke this news actually in our group chat last night. Erica was probably sleeping, but we have a report from Fightful about the potential future of Sasha and maybe even Naomi, correct?
Yeah, well, it was only pointed at Sasha in that email, and they basically said, and I saw one of the announcements, she was announced for Chicago Comic-Con. You could go get a picture with her for $90.
Just a picture is $90?
Just a picture, $90. But
pass.
At this moment, she's taking bookings at conventions for appearances at a very high and specific rate from her agents. And when wrestling promotions reached out to try to book her for wrestling, she said not until January 1st at the earliest. So, but she's kind of floating that date out there, you know, and presumably that would be when her contract was over or her 90-day non-compete too.
I was going to say there's probably contract obligations there, but Erica kind of feels like this is a done deal. I don't think we're going to be seeing Sasha and Naomi anymore, or at least Sasha in the WWE.
No, I don't think there's any swerve to this. Like, even if it was like, oh yeah, I'm telling everyone and I'm coming back for like WWE day one, like, no, because you can't do other wrestling if you're, signed to WWE. So I feel like that's it. And
yeah.
So now is WWE going to just do things such as TV 14 to sort of make up for the fact that you dropped somebody like Sasha Banks?
I don't know if that's a direct counter to losing Sasha Banks, but I think the show obviously goes on. I mean, look at AEW, for instance. They haven't had MJF for about a month or two now, and their show's still very good. So, yes, Sasha.
I haven't thought about MJF in a while.
I was going to bring up that point
tonight for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not in the news anymore. So maybe when Sasha's gone, she'll make a splash somewhere else. But it seems as if at least Sasha Banks is probably on her way out, and that could be on January 1st, 2023. So once again, time will tell with that one. But we're going to really transition here to AEW for the rest of the show. But before we get into that, we got to see what the listeners are saying about the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.
What's everybody saying about the On the Mark podcast?
It's just insane, and I love it.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
Unlike any other.
It's a great show.
We'll be right back after a brief intermission.
Oh, that never gets old. I love that, Tuck.
Erica with the costume change. Look at that.
What, really?
I turned to an old non during the break. I had to get my sweater. I was cold.
Gotta get you a babushka, honey.
Yeah.
That would be funny though. Like we had one episode where we had like 10 intermissions and we were
every time we came back.
I go get my Ric Flair robe out of my closet over here. Orange Cassidy comes back after the break. Yeah. Hey, maybe for our Halloween episode.
Hey, I just realized I have like Orange Cassidy type pants.
There you go.
So
we could come up with like 2 or 3. I don't think that would be difficult.
I still have my Shotzi wig.
I gotta
that
find
Shotzi outfit you had was fantastic.
That was
I retired on top.
We'll see you in Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe Spooky Fest.
We'll see him.
Yeah, we won't see either of you at All Out though. All Out officially announced for Chicago, but I got word from Tucky this morning, and I wasn't expecting to see Erica, but you both will not be making the trip to Chicago, correct?
Yeah, we're actually doing a couples getaway, like a non-gags weekend. Is we're going all out to not see gags, I think is what we called it. AOTNSK weekend.
Great comment from Bogus. Orange Cassidy type pants.
They're not.
That's just Gene's sweetheart.
They're not. You watch him.
They're like type pants.
Are you talking about like with the holes by the knee pads? Is that what you're referring to?
They have an elastic ankle.
They're joggers.
They're
I think they're made to look like denim. I don't think they're actually denim, but they are joggers.
Are they like the pajama pants ones? Have you ever seen those? Like the jeans that are kind of like pajamas?
I mean, mine are like I don't know.
Orange Cassidy type pants.
You get it. Yeah.
I'm sure one listener at least picked up on that reference. But speaking of Orange Cassidy, he kicked off the show taking on the TNT champion, 2 of the most popular stars in AEW, to kick off Fyter Fest. And I thought this was a fun first title defense for Wardlow against a very over Orange Cassidy, but the crowd was into it and Wardlow wins. I'm cool with it. I wasn't amazed by anything, but I thought this was a solid way to start off the show. What do you think, Tuck?
Well, and if they don't know what they're really going to do with Wardlow, what his next program, like longer program, is going to be, get him on TV, give him a good opponent. Orange Cassidy is a good opponent, and let's just have him have a solid match. I don't think it's fumbled yet, but I do think some people might be getting impatient with how hot he was with the MJF feud and where he's at now 2 months later. But yeah, good match.
But this is like his first title defense. I get it, but it is like his first, right?
Yeah.
Which is weird to me why he just immediately wins the TNT title and he's got to defend it the next week, which I get. That's the kind of the purpose of the TNT title, or that was the original intention, I would believe, but it might have been a little too soon. And
I liked that, like what Tuck said, like you gave him like a good opponent, you put on a solid match. I don't think I was ever thinking Orange Cassidy would win, but there was a couple times I was like, oh, like I knew it wouldn't happen, but maybe. I liked the best friends shenanigans with the chainsaw.
I like Wardlow looked down and he's like, a chainsaw?
And Trent took off the wrong part of the turnbuckle. Like, just, I don't get what's going on with them, but it was funny. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. And then I know we were talking about MJF not being around, but I wonder, like, if they kind of just give Wardlow these, like, floater matches, like, have a good match. It's nothing really too serious until MJF comes back down the road, and then they get into some beef.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would like to see. I think we talked about that a little bit last week, but like Steve said, you had that mix of comedy and you made Wardlow look strong. Vogus is saying that AEW can't book champions. Some I would agree with. It is
none of them are on like a Roman Reigns type level for sure.
Even though I am kind of getting tired of the Roman Reigns not being on TV. Not being on TV.
Well, he hasn't defended the title in 100 days. You know,
that's my gripe is like you put both titles on Roman. Now there's no major championship in your company. And like Tuck said, you haven't defended it in over 100 days.
100 days?
Yeah.
It's a long time, but Wardlow defended it the very first week. But after I watched that match and I've seen what he did with Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door, I personally think Orange Cassidy might be the most underrated wrestler in AEW. Unless you guys can think of somebody else. I love what he's doing.
And I think he likes that. I think that's like his MO is that, because that's what got me about him. Like I remember seeing like my first clip of him was like a match with him and like Gentleman Jarvis. And like Gentleman Jarvis was like putting him to sleep and the crowd was quiet and Orange Cassidy was like fussing. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, cool. And then seeing him in AEW, he's just cool. So you kind of like gravitate towards him. You like him, whatever. And then like once like the gimmick was over and he puts it to bed and he puts on his like wrestling boots and like goes for it, he's crazy good. So I like that. It's like you can't judge the book by his cover because
it seems like he picks and chooses when he wants to turn it on, so to say. Yeah. Which is highly entertaining, and he's one of the best acts going. And Tuck, you actually just got yourself an Orange Cassidy figure, and you might be meeting him at StarCast, right?
I'm very excited. Yeah. So right now I'm at Diamond Dallas Page and Orange Cassidy. Two no-brainers. You know, they make a lot of sense. But yeah, and then I have to figure out what other ones I want to do. If I want to
do Johnny with me, right?
I will attend a meet and greet with Johnny Gargano. I'm not doing them with you. That's
hey,
let's bookend Johnny Gargano.
Yeah,
we can strike a pose.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably and Johnny Gargano too. I don't know what I'll have him sign. I got to figure that out.
I'm still waiting on my figures that I ordered from Ringside Collectibles about a month.
Kyle, who are you doing?
Johnny for sure. And I really haven't decided on anybody else. I think we'll have to go over.
You were thinking about Miro. That was a kind of a
that was another one that we discussed after last week's episode that I was considering. I'll have to take another look and see what they cost because that's really the big decider there. But let's move on here at Fyter Fest. This will get Erica going right now, and we have an upcoming matchup between Jericho and Eddie that's going to be happening tomorrow on AEW Rampage. If you're listening to this on Friday, it's happening tonight, but both Jericho and Eddie got some time to cut some promos. I wasn't crazy about either one of them, but I am very excited for this no-holds-barred match that we are getting tomorrow night. And Erica, I'm sure you're ecstatic to see what these two are going to do on Rampage.
I also feel like Eddie, I don't know, every time like Eddie brings up like the barbed wire, like all I think about is that match with Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, like the exploding ring match or whatever it was. So I feel like Eddie's really going to go like balls deep in this one and just like shred the fuck out of like him and Jericho. Yeah, the promos, like sometimes Eddie loose on a mic is just like cringe.
Honestly, his was more interesting, I thought, backstage than Jericho's. Jericho could just cut like a very vanilla heel promo.
Like even who was behind him, Ortiz, just kind of like, all right, he said what he said. Like,
and Ruby.
Yeah, my Ruby. Like, don't even Ruby. Don't even make me hate you. It's fine. We're cool. But
he's gonna go over, right? He's got to win Friday.
He's got to. And you know what I was kind of thinking too? You have these two guys. I was thinking this at Blood and Guts. You have these two guys. Like if whatever they're doing with Eddie, whatever they're doing with Jericho, they don't even do anything with Jericho. But it's like I like that they're where they're at in their careers, and they kind of just like are going into this maybe like last great feud with each other and like keeping each other going. And like I really like that. And I saw someone say on Twitter how everything in AEW sort of like comes back to Eddie. And then she said it was like all Eddie wrestling. And I was like, it's true. He's on every episode.
That's a t-shirt for us. That's a t-shirt.
Well, she said
With
it.
permission.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ask her.
You're gonna have to,
I could never find the tweet, but
we'll give her some royalties if it takes off or anything. But Tuck, going off of Steve's question here, because they are kind of labeling this as the final match between the two. Who do you got, Eddie or Jericho on Rampage?
I'm pulling for Eddie.
Yeah,
it's like 60-40 in my head right now, but I want Eddie to win, so that's where I'm at. Erica, what about you?
Listen, big JAS fan here. No, and you know what I noticed, and I said it to Bobby, and he was like, "That's not true." It is true, and I probably said it before. Forgive me. You know, on like the graphics on the bottom, Eddie is never on them, ever, 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 ever. I forgot who just got signed, and like they're on it. And it's never Eddie, no matter the city, no matter the date, no matter the week, he is never on it. And that man gets your crowd going every single show that he's on. So give Eddie his flowers, give him the recognition and the respect that he deserves. If you're not going to put a belt on him, at least admit that he is one of the faces of AEW.
I'm raising my hand.
Go. I forgot my
Miss Marini.
Yeah, my face got red.
While you're getting going, do you have to address anything about body shaming?
And for those of you that are shaming Eddie Kingston's body, listen, we're all getting older. Thank you. Thanks, Steph. We're all getting older, okay? I think normally he would have that like tape holding his belly in, but he didn't. And let me see all of you talking shit post a selfie of yourself with your belly, because I bet you have zero room to talk. And even so, like somebody said, like, oh, you don't. We love the big meaty guys in WWE, like the Vaders, the Bam Bam Bigelows, even like the Mick Foleys, the Samoa Joes. Like that's obviously like.
Kevin Owens is not, a god either.
How
so
do you
talk
about? How do you talk about Eddie Kingston? And Eddie Kingston just looks like a guy off the street. That's exactly what he is.
And here's the difference. The thing about Adam Cole, he's a smaller, like athletic built type wrestler. It would make sense for him to add muscle and, kind of like point towards a Finn Balor type body type, right? But like that, because that's who he is as a wrestler. Eddie Kingston is a dude off the streets, right? Like
he wants to fight you.
He's like a construction worker that works 40 hours a week, and he just wants to fight. Yeah,
he's not trying to hit you with Hurricane Ranas. Like he's just there to like beat ass. And half the people that are saying this to him
fight.
He would beat the shit out of you for fun. Like, Ryan, you may or may not be surprised by it, but yes, I am.
Ryan Matthews asked, for those listening later, Erica's a fan of big meaty guys? She might be.
Spoiler alert.
Brooklyn Brawler Vogus says.
Yeah.
No, that should be a very good match. I'm excited for it. I won't be able to watch it until after this weekend. Shame. So no spoilers.
Adam Cole would kick your asses too. And you want Adam Cole to look like Finn Balor? Why don't you do an ounce of that? Why don't you get yourself halfway to what Finn Balor looks like, and then you could talk shit about Adam Cole. Not you, Tuck. I'm just saying those that are saying it.
Whoa.
Yeah, no.
I'm scared. Marini scared me.
Just don't be dickheads.
Marudy. Wow.
I just asked a question.
Meanie Marini.
I like that.
I like that.
That could have been a segment right there. Maybe that's a thing. You find something to rant about for about a couple minutes every episode.
Like Family Guy. Well, that's what grinds my
Rantarini.
That could be a thing. But yeah, that'll be good.
Italian Broad comes out.
We got one more comment trickling in here.
I didn't mean Tuck.
Tuck's more than halfway to Balor. Yeah, she wasn't directly talking about Tuck. And Ryan Matthews said he can't wait for all these injured guys to come back. We're missing so much talent.
It's true. It's going to be delicious.
Steve said you could cut a good at TV 14, not PG.
And if you got a problem with this, fuck off. Fuck off.
Fuck off and buy the merch. The fuck off t-shirt on the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com.
That's edgy.
But after that, we got a very good match between the AEW interim champion, Jon Moxley, and Takeshita. It was a match I didn't know I needed until last night. that was one hell of a showing from Takeshita. I haven't seen much of his work, but I hope we keep seeing him on TV because that guy took the champion to his limits.
He is young and his aspects, like the prospects of his growth are through the roof. He's been getting high praise from not only AEW but other indie companies he's worked with too. I thought that was a great match. Good for him and good for Moxley, right? One goes over, one gets over. I thought it was a good match. He's only $30 at StarCast if you want to meet him.
I mean,
that ain't bad, right?
He can
Is
go.
everybody freaking going to StarCast?
Well, it is in Nashville when we're there for SummerSlam.
No,
so.
I just meant.
Oh, do you know more people going to StarCast? Or are you talking about the wrestlers going to StarCast?
The wrestlers.
There's a lot.
It's loaded.
So many.
Hey, when WWE runs a big show, just like WrestleMania weekend, there's a lot of things that happen with meet and greets and stuff with indie wrestlers. So it makes sense that they're just going to hitch to that wagon and go to Nashville.
Yeah.
But Erica, this is probably the match of the night, right?
Yeah.
What about the tag? The tag was good.
It was, but for me personally,
this
might have been my favorite. Maybe it's just because I wasn't expecting much out of it.
And it was so. Is this how they're doing? Like every time Mox wrestles, it's going to be for the belt.
It's like a championship contenders, isn't that how they labeled it?
Well, then they said like
WWE does. That's like what WWE does, isn't it?
Also, I feel like WWE has like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something with that because I was like, okay, so then I still didn't understand what it meant, but
Steve, did I pronounce that right? Takeshita? I think that's how it's pronounced. But it is he said it took him 4 weeks to learn how to pronounce it. And Ryan Matthews asked, has Moxley had a bad match in AEW? None. Oh, wait, hold on. I got one. Tuck, you might remember this. So funny story. I was going to bring this up later. Ian and I on our way back from Indianapolis last week, and we're listening to old OTM episodes. And one of them, we were talking about a match that John Moxley had with Jake Hager, and it was that Falls Count Anywhere during the pandemic. That was a bad match. I didn't enjoy that one, but I don't think that was John Moxley's fault. But it was fun to go back and listen to some old OTM because to see how much we've grown since then. You did pronounce it perfectly, dude. That's rare because I butcher a lot of names on here. It's not easy. Ryan, that's a good question. He asked, what's going to happen when Punk comes back from injury? He was working out on his Instagram story. Are we going to get Punk versus Moxley? Yeah, I think that's the consensus, right?
Do you think it's heel Punk or heel Mox? I think heel Punk.
I don't think heel either. I think you can just work as is.
I think heel Punk is more fun.
But what's he mad about?
Yeah, I was going to say,
where does the shit because I came here and I have everybody chanting my name before I even came here. Like, I don't know, because he's CM Punk and he knows it.
Well, the match is going to be happening in Chicago, so it probably makes more sense to have Moxley work as the heel if you were going to have somebody turn heel, just because, regardless of if Punk's the heel or face, he's going to get.
Has Mox ever been like heel? I feel like he's
just an edgy.
What he is.
Yeah. He's just like
no ill intent. I mean, normal ill intent for him.
Yeah, nobody actually hates John Moxley. It's more of a respect and we'll boo you because
feels like Jim Cornette does. Did you hear about
really?
That?
What did he say? No,
he said John Moxley is a terrible wrestler. One of the worst.
Jim Cornette, go watch your wife get boned.
Jim Cornette doesn't know shit, and that guy was in the business.
Don't they call him a cuck? Isn't that what a cuck is?
Yes.
I had to Google it.
I think cuck's the word, but. You Googled that one?
Well, I kept seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he is technically a cuck, Jim Cornette. But after that, Fyter Fest, we had Lucha Soros versus Griff Garrison. I don't really need to talk about the match. I think we should probably talk more about the direction of Christian Cage because we really haven't, discussed what he's been doing recently. So in the absence of MJF, I feel like he stepped up to be that top heel in AEW, and he's doing his job because I personally believe Jungle Boy's getting over, Tuck, and he hasn't even been on TV for nearly a month.
Yeah, I didn't know Christian had this like gear to him. I wasn't expecting it. And again, he still hasn't wrestled. When was the last time he wrestled a match?
When he was face.
He's polarizing, and he's not even working. So I've enjoyed it.
I'll send you the link, Focus.
Erica, what do you think about Christian Cage work? Do you think he's gone too far with some of the comments that he's made?
I
with
just
Jungle
saw
Boy's
somebody
dad
say like
and-
that's his new gimmick is he's not afraid to go there, and I think my friend was like, oh, I know you're not watching Bobby, but he's like such a WWE hater, and like I can't stand it sometimes. But like he was
For
trying to
reference,
say
Bobby
that
is
like
Erica's friends.
he was trying to say that Christian's return has been so much better than Edge's, but for so long, up until a month ago,
Yeah,
what was Christian doing? Just
Exactly.
sort of being like the manager to
valet.
Yeah. So I wasn't really like in agreement, and like I get that Edge has gotten hurt now or whatever the hell, but Edge has some good matches, some good feuds. Yeah. But now, I mean, Edge just has some like catching up to do, because I think, like Tuck said, like I didn't think Christian had this in him, and I'm like loving it because everything that comes out of his mouth, you're just kind of like, oh shit. Like when he was going at Jungle Boy's like mom and sister, and I had to keep like telling myself like they probably talked about it backstage, someone taking cheap shots at your dad, like whatever. But yeah, I don't know. And I like this Luchasaurus because it's so funny that we all thought that like once him and Jungle Boy broke up, like he would fall to the wayside. Maybe he'd go to WWE down the road, whatever. But like this sort of like breathed new life into him too, and like even with like this spooky Kane music, like it's just
that's exactly what I was gonna say. It gives me Kane vibes.
And he's like dark, like now his like loincloth is black instead of like green. Like he's scary.
I mean, that's a very good point though, because Luchasaurus could have been one of those guys that got lost in the shuffle with this feud between Christian and Jungle Boy, but I'm assuming their direction is to have a match at All Out. But now that Luchasaurus is kind of there for Christian Cage, it gives him a little bit more, because if he's just there with Jungle Boy going after Christian, I don't think it's as interesting as it is now.
It'll go Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and then eventually we'll all get satisfied and have Jungle Boy versus Christian.
Ryan Matthews said Edge's character has seemed dry ever since he was stacked and pinned at Mania a couple years ago. I don't know if dry is the word. Yeah, I don't know if dry is the word, but I mean, it hasn't been fantastic. I liked where they were going with the Judgment Day, but that's obviously not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Talk anything else about Christian Cage and the direction they're going with Jungle Boy?
Excited to see it. We know that AEW does long-term storytelling pretty well, so I'm excited to see it.
And this is where I was going to bring up the fact that I kind of like forgot about MJF, because Christian's doing such a good job at filling that void as the heel in AEW.
Yeah.
And obviously we know how talented MJF is, but that just goes to show you, next man up, somebody's waiting in the wings to take your spot. Like that's just
what do you think is going on with him?
I have no idea. I really don't. Does anybody? Do you have a thought?
Are they going PG-14 because of MJF?
It's not PG. It's TV-14.
It's just because of PG-13.
Take a drink every time Erica says PG-14.
Son of a bitch. If anybody near you has woodchuck cider berry snaps, buy me some.
Berry snaps.
So good.
I agree, Bogus. Edge has been putting on absolute bangers since he came back. He's so much better. Yeah, he's been having overall better body work, I would say, than Christian. But you can't deny the fact that what Christian doing right now is very good. But after that, Fyter Fest. There we go. I knew I'd botch something this episode. We had Claudio Castanoli versus Jake Hader. Funny story. On that same episode, I was kind of discussing that Jake Hager was mid, because everybody was freaking out when he debuted in AEW. Yeah. I love Claudio. I love what he's been doing so far in AEW. But Tuck, for me, this match was just there. I can't get into Jake Hager.
Yeah. It didn't really hurt Claudio, but it didn't really help Jake Hager.
And you say that you thought he was mid. Do you think he's no longer mid because he's with Jericho? Like, picture him
bodyguard now. That's all he is.
And like he needs like Jericho to sort of, carry him.
The fact that guy held a world heavyweight championship in WWE.
Now all we need is Zeb Colt. What's his name?
Zeb Coulter. We the people. Bring it back.
Right?
But I mean, Claudio's run so far in AEW has been fantastic, and everything that they're doing with the BCC has been good. But just for this match itself, nothing really stood out to me. What about you, Erica?
Nah, I like watching Claudio in action. I like that they had like the history that they do. I like their face-to-face last week, and I'm trying to remember like what Jake Hager said.
It was
like,
backstage, right?
Yeah, and like Claudio like made a face, and he's like, "I'm harder than you," and then like Claudio's like this. Okay. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Stupid like little things like that. So I like, listen, not even to go off on a tangent, but the people that complain, I've said this before, that complain that all AEW is just all ex WWE. Okay, they have to go somewhere. And now they're matured in their careers and their character development has matured. Their in-ring has matured, hopefully. And now they get to come to a point where they've had this history, whether it be in WWE or Ring of Honor, Impact, wherever. And like now we get these new matches. Like, yes, okay, maybe like the two of them have faced before, but like it just seems fresh. So like,
yeah,
shut the fuck up.
Well, I think Tuck might agree with me here too. I think Claudio fits more into AEW. This is more his style, and WWE
He blended in
seemed
WWE.
like he was floating around, and having good matches.
Yep, I agree.
He's got his like personality. Focus. What I meant by that is that he's not like he's in the BCC now, like, you know,
he
and
has
like
something.
Yeah, and it's not just like Cesaro, like the neutral Swede. Like it's he's got like he's like badass, and like Jake Hager's not Jack Swagger anymore. It's like
he's still bad. I still can't get into him, but I agree. Like what I
There's
said
just
earlier.
a little extra something.
Jesus Christ, Ryan Matthews from
is that what I said? What did I say?
I don't think
you
it is.
Said it right. You said it right. He's being horny, and that's
Ryan Matthews still can't legally get a drink, so and he's saying those things. So we're gonna exclude him from the MVM award just because of that. They're both just. I disagree. I think Claudio.
I would have thought that too.
I think Claudio is much more entertaining or interesting, I should say, in AEW with the BCC than he was doing anything.
And he just seems so happy to be there too. And WWE. I love it.
Yeah, now we get fresh matchups with Claudio and pretty much the whole entire roster.
Man, people were bitching like back then, and I was like, I forgot who it was. I'm like, we just got Kyle O'Reilly versus. I forgot who it was, and I'm like, that was
what
like
the
a
hell are
delicious
Kyle O'Reilly
match.
and
like,
Bobby Fish doing in AEW?
I know now,
yeah, good point.
Where's Adam Cole?
You brought up that name. Adam Cole's hurt. That we do know. Okay, I think he actually had a concussion, so that makes sense, and maybe that's why.
Oh, right, from
Forbidden Door. I almost blanked there on what that pay-per-view was, but we got two more matches here from Fyter Fest. Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb was the semi-main event. I thought this match was fine, but I thought it was cool for Anna Jay to get to wrestle in her hometown because I think her in-ring work has improved a lot over the last 2 years. Like she seemed very comfortable in the ring with Serena Deeb, who in my opinion, Tuck, is probably one of the best technical wrestlers they have in that women's division.
I think her biggest asset to the company is her ability to help others and develop talent. I look at this match, Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb. Like, is that not a perfect like touring house show match where Anna Jay would really benefit from working with someone like Serena Deeb 4 or 5 nights a week? You know, so that's what I pulled out of it. Again, not match of the night. Not gonna give it 5 stars, but it was a good reminder that Serena Deeb is still good at wrestling too. Because she's kind of been in and out a little bit. Yeah, no, she's a good hand to have. And I think they're utilizing her very well in AEW. But Erica, would you agree Anna Jay's work over the past couple of years has improved? Yeah,
and she's one of those names that like I think like where's she been? You know, she'll come out for like Dark Order stuff, but like when's her last, you know, real match or a true Anna Jay appearance? So I was happy to see her in her home state. And then, like Tuck said, to be able to work with somebody like Serena Deeb, like in a match like that. And she's already improved, but like you said, just having her work with Deeb would only further that. So I like it. I like her.
Yeah.
I root for her.
And Mercedes Martinez, correct me if I'm wrong, came out afterwards. And is she having a match with Deeb at Ring of Honor?
Ring of Honor. Yes, they are.
That should be a pretty good one.
That card is going to be so good. I'm going to throw up everywhere.
Can you think of any of the other matches that are happening?
FTR versus the Briscoes, Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia.
Ooh, I like that.
First of all, I spent my Sunday, you guys know I went to like the lake and then we got home and I sat for 1 hour on my phone watching, I don't remember what promotion it was, but it was Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia, and I sat there and watched that match for all 60 minutes. I tried to watch Rampage, catch up with Rampage after that, and I was like this. That match was shit. No, that match was shit. Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia went for 60 minutes. That match was too fast. Like, it, like, tarnished my mind for, like, wrestling. It was, like, really good. It was very technical. It was awesome. So sorry. That, Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
I forget. I know that they said Jonathan Gresham versus Lee Moriarty is Friday, but I don't also remember if that's at
I feel like it
Ring
is
of Honor
something that they're
too.
doing at Ring of Honor. At least they hinted
And then
towards it.
something else that I can't remember, but it's going to be so good. And like I said,
It
if
will-
they do meet and greets,
Gags,
I
we'll
will
be Eric is
die.
going to be on our TV.
I'm going to, okay, so here's this.
Third
fun
row,
fact.
middle of the row.
Oh, wow.
I bought tickets and I go, let's.
I won't be able to watch live, unfortunately.
Why?
I'll be at Warrior Wrestling.
Why?
I got me and Ian.
Listen to my fun story.
Yeah,
Listen to my fun story. So my friend
Listen.
Jim Tucker texts me and it's like this, yo, how far are you from Lowell? I'm like, we might be going. I don't know. My friend Jim Tucker texts me like a week later. He's like, here's the promo code. Here's the pre-sale code. I was like, no shit. I'm like, all right, we're doing this. No seating chart. Log on at 10 o'clock. Zero seating chart. We're trying. We're like section 122. Like, I don't know. Like, so then I was like this, fuck it. Best available. Like whatever they were, $84 a piece. I was like, let's just like pull the trigger. I was talking to you guys last week. Like, I don't know where they're going to be. Like maybe by the ramp, like somewhere. I was like, I guess we'll just see. Worst case, you know, we'll figure something out. It'll be a good night. Oh no. Then my friend Jim Tucker texts me for the third time and says, here, what's your section? A, here's the seating chart. We are hard cam ringside, 3 rows back, seats 8
Like,
and
right
9
in the
in
middle,
like
yeah.
a 20 row aisle. I'm like thinking like, I've never seen Samoa Joe live outside of, I think, WrestleMania 35. I'm going to lose my shit. And I already know it. I am like concerned about my relationship because like I don't know how I'm going to act. And then I'm thinking like,
you gotta prep him.
should I make
Just
a sign?
make him sign a waiver? Make Mike sign a waiver. Like
I mean, like
your
email
hall
me like
pass.
I've known you for like 20 years. Like just think like college me, but like wild for a different reason.
Yeah.
I know. That's what
Ryan
I'm saying.
Matthews
Like the
supports
tickets
you.
were like, and we were like, okay, that had to be like 200 a piece, right? And I kept looking like, nope, 200 total. And those seats are like bomb. And I'm going to lose my mind. Like I said, if they do meet and greets, I am just these things. So
Yeah. I'll have to watch that on
I might
replay
make a
someday.
sign. I said that. I got to think of like a Samoa Joe
Yeah,
sign to make.
do it.
But I also don't want nobody behind me to be like, can you put the sign down?
Can you put our Twitter handle on the other side of the sign at Pod on the Mark? Just
Yeah.
say follow.
ooh,
and just-
smart, smart.
Yeah. If
See,
you,
if
but
you're right
like,
there,
if you help me to make, I got to figure out what I want my sign to say. So you help
you
me
should
with
get
that.
a Brian Danielson appreciation shirt on the On the Mark
I
Wrestling
have to
podcast.
wear my
site.
Samoa Joe shirt. What if I meet
Yeah,
him?
for real. Come
I
on,
put it out in the. I manifested it. Remember,
trying to
like
get that
last year,
plug.
I tweeted the picture of me and the Samoa Joe cutout, and I was like, "It's gonna happen."
Yeah, I know. That would be a
I'm
big
going
moment
to
for
lose
you.
my mind.
I'm excited. So last thing here from Fyter Fest Night 1 was our main event, the Triple Threat Tag Team Championship match. And I thought we got a great match here in the main event. It was awesome to see the growth of Ricky Starks with Hobbs as a team. And then, of course, we are seeing the evolution of Keith Lee and Swerve. And Swerve and Our Glory are the team that come out on top here in the main event. They are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Something I personally didn't see coming just because I thought the direction they were going to be going was potentially the Young Bucks versus FTR at All Out. But instead, we get Keith Lee and Swerve as the tag team champions. What's your guys' thoughts on this?
I was also surprised because the cracks, I guess. So I thought like, oh, it's not time yet. I thought the Bucks would retain until, I don't know, like FTR got involved or until something. I don't know. Now that Keith Lee and Swerve won, I'm thinking like, is it like they fall apart and that's how they lose the belts? Like, are we continuing with the issues, or are they going to be like reigning defending champions that keep it together and defend it?
So
They don't.
Bucks don't need a title to be on the card. They can find something else, which I do agree with. I just thought they were going to go in that direction.
You know, then do it Swerve in Our Glory versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and let Ricky.
I feel like we've seen that a lot recently.
I know, but I just want the belt on those two.
You do? I like the belts where they're at right now. Getting Swerve and Keith Lee.
I think Ricky Starks
run.
deserves way more.
I mean,
I think he's on his way.
Featured on TV a lot.
He's on his way.
Yeah,
He oozes it.
He doesn't need to be shot right to the main event right away. I think that, like Tuck's kind of insinuating, they're building him up, right?
I hope.
Yeah, he's going to go on a good run here. I drafted him.
I'm patient. How old is he? I got to find out.
Yeah, that's true. Tuck, what do you think about this main event as a whole?
Here's why I like AEW, because their main events are not pose-offs, right? Like every once in a while, you're going to get a great match that would fit on a pay-per-view. And
yes,
I enjoyed it. And I did not expect Swerve and Glory to go over. So that's kind of like what you want in a main event, right? Titles are on the line. It means something. A little unpredictable.
Do you think that any part of them getting the belt so quickly is at all a shot at WWE? I know that. No.
I don't think it's really that quickly though, because I mean,
Swerve just got there.
Did he though? Hasn't it been like 4 months or so?
That's still new.
I
think
it's pretty recently, yeah.
And I know it's not the same crossover because she came from Ring of Honor, but they've kind of done the same thing with Roxanne Perez and NXT. Like she just
but NXT needs that. NXT needs stars.
I would agree, but I mean, I think AEW needs to feature guys like Swerve and Keith Lee, and this is probably their answer to that because they can't do anything with them right now in the singles division. So put the straps on them. They've built that chemistry over the past couple weeks, and they seem like a formidable tag team, even though you have all these other established tag teams in AEW that haven't got a lick at the titles. It's kind of a catch-22 there because you could say a lot of other teams maybe deserved it more than Swerve and Our Glory. But Erica, thoughts as a whole on the match itself?
I liked it, even though the ending caught seemingly all of us by surprise, and I was a tiny bit disappointed. It was a good match. And I think that the Bucks were the right ones to be the sort of placeholder for the belts and to get it onto somebody else. So I think it will all.
So if you were to book who they're facing it all out, who do you think Swerve and Our Glory would face? You're going to say Starks and Hobbs, aren't you?
You told me not to. So what would I say? FTR.
I like what Vogus is saying. It's time for the Acclaimed. Listen. It would be very entertaining. I would be here for it. I don't think the Acclaim would win, but Doc, other than FTR, I mean, who really deserves it at this point?
Not Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. You can kind of cross them off the list, right? Yeah. But I have nobody else. I mean, there's
Lucha Brothers.
It's gonna be. It was fun last night to see them win. Now they have to book their champions correctly, which pointed to another comment that Vogus had earlier. You know, they got to book them right.
We got a lot of new things going on in AEW, new champions, new feuds, injuries that have, made them change the card here from time to time. So AEW is doing a good job with all the, things that have been thrown at them over the past couple months. But Vogus is once again chiming in. He says the Acclaimed are so damn over. Give them a damn main card match. Yeah,
they are.
It seems like they barely put them on Dynamite. They're either on Rampage or Dark.
And I feel like I liked this. I liked the ass boy thing, but it
was funny.
It needs to I don't want the Acclaim to get kind of dragged down with the ass boys because they're just not.
How dare you?
So what?
How dare you?
How dare you, ass boys?
The ass boys are bad.
The ass boys. I couldn't tell you which one's face I hate more.
Colton's the tall, skinny one, and Austin's the shorter one. Now you got to pick.
I hate both of their faces. Did you watch Relatively Famous on VH1? Austin was on it. Austin Gunn is who he is on AEW in real life.
He crashed a FaceTime that I had with 2.0 talking to Vogus at the Fan
he
Fest.
jumped in?
Yeah, he jumped in. It was like, why aren't you here, Ryan?
Oh, that's cute. I just don't think that if they didn't have their dad, obviously, but we could say that for Dominic Mysterio, like it's not a shot, but like if they didn't have their dad, I don't know like that they would necessarily be over at all. And I liked the uniting with the Acclaims, and I liked the teasing of like who Billy Gunn was gonna side with. I like that, but then like what do you do after that? So now they're gonna have a feud, and I just kind of feel like it's beneath the Acclaimed, and maybe this is something that they do and then they just go up from there, because like Voga said, they're super over. They deserve more. They're like ready for more. They're great. I don't know, so I'm hopeful, but do I think it's them versus Swerve in Our Glory? No,
not yet, but hopefully eventually. And I don't know the specifics on the numbers that they do on social media, but you have to assume that the Acclaimed probably get them one of the most
I listen to
views.
Goth Phase in my car at least once a week.
What's that?
Two grown men and they going through the Goth Phase. Remember when it was the Acclaimed versus Sting and Darby?
No.
And they made the music video?
Oh, okay.
It's so good. It's such a good song.
I almost forgot about that one. Was that during the pandemic?
I'm
not
I would
sure.
say no. I don't know.
There's just certain things that I don't remember until somebody jogs my memory, and that was definitely one of them. One more comment here before we wrap things up. Gags hated the Acclaim back then. He wanted Max fired.
For what?
Yeah, he made those comments. Wasn't it like kind of making fun of sexual assault or something in a way?
Yeah,
he made a comment, yes, and I think I was mad at him too. And then he like
not...
made a comment about like Julia Hart when she was like 17. I was like, it's kind of icky, but
yeah, I mean, maybe fired was too extreme, but to act like that was a good thing is not true.
Having met him.
My bad for the inappropriate comment. TV 14 and up today. Great show, guys. Ryan Matthews says, out of line today. I'll be better next week.
Oh, good.
Bogus is still bogus. Bogus said, I was alone on the Acclaim train back then, ride or die.
Respect, Bogus, respect.
He was there from day one. So overall, I thought night one of Fyter Fest was good. They're calling AEW Rampage Night 2, and that is a very solid card for a Rampage. Once again, I won't be able to see it live, so please don't spoil it for me.
Yeah, I don't think I'll see it live either. Yeah,
I don't know that
You got fam time, right, Tuck?
Oh yeah, that'll be that's the night before the big race, so I gotta chill out.
Focus.
It's only the 2 nights, right?
I'm not 100%, but I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna bleed into next week, but yeah, overall another good show from AEW. So that then takes us to the part of the show where we award our most valuable mark of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. We had a few commenters this week. Last week we had Kine tuning in for the first time, and he took the MVM from Ryan Vogus, but Ryan Vogus is taking that bad boy right back because we have a new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Ryan Vogus.
Solid.
Thank you. Not surprised with that one. Erica, I don't think you can even hate on that one this week.
No, I didn't chime in the private chat, but I gave a thumbs up.
Usually Erica will be like, oh, let's make it a tie. Let's give it to everyone. Let's give it to Steve. Let's give it to Ryan Matthews.
We'll give everyone a treat ticket for a snow cone after the game.
Gets one.
Yeah, it's like T-ball all over again. Yeah. Look at this. I ain't surprised. Ryan Vogus. Okay. Public statement right there.
Real knows real.
I think that's all we got from this week. We got some exciting things coming up, though. Obviously, Erica will be attending Ring of Honor next Saturday, so I'm sure we will talk a little bit about that show coming up. And then the week after that, next week we will have referee Jeremy Telema from Warrior Wrestling on for the first half hour. Me and Ian are going to do an interview with him, and then Tucky and Erica are going to join me, and we're going to talk wrestling and probably about Ring of Honor show. And then following that week, the last week of July, will be our SummerSlam preview show. So we have some exciting things coming up. Erica, any final remarks?
What a time to be a wrestling fan. What a time to be the three of us just
as Vogus would say, this is the way. That is referee Jeremy Telema's go-to saying right there. This is the way.
I don't get it.
It's a Mandalorian thing, I believe. I don't know.
Oh, that's not my
and way. He just uses it. But hey, he's a good dude. We're going to hear a lot about Warrior Wrestling that's also going on next Saturday to the 23rd. So it's going to be cool to get a little insight there from a referee. So Tucky, why don't you send us home?
Ladies and gentlemen, before you go, make sure that you're following us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. All of our socials at Pod on the Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.
Hi, y'all. Likes a solo. I
was
likes
late.
a solo.
I
That was
late.
late.